What up, Dokkanners? Welcome back to Tsunami for another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. Today's video is going to be very chill and laid back. This is not going to be a showcase where I'm testing out a unit on Super Battle Road. This is not a video where I'm going to be doing anything regarding any cool events or anything like that. No, this is just a box showcase slash reflection video on a weird milestone that I never thought that I would reach, honestly. And if I were to, I wasn't expecting it to happen this soon. So, as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, I now have 50, actually 51, but over 50 units with max links. Now, compared to some of the other big-time Dokkan tubers, this is nothing. But given what goes into link leveling, this is actually a pretty crazy achievement for someone like me. Because when link leveling first started, I think it was during the 5-year anniversary or just before that, sometime in like the summer of last year. Once I learned just what went into maxing out the links for one unit, I told myself it was never going to happen. I just wasn't going to make an effort to do that kind of thing. And so the rate that I was leveling up my links was very, very, very slow. In fact, so slow that I don't think I had my first link maxed out until maybe like 2 or 3 weeks after the update. So compared to my contemporaries like Truth and those guys, that's pretty slow. Because those guys were grinding away like crazy getting these links maxed out. The idea is great, you know, it adds another level of depth to the game in a very simplistic kind of way. You're basically having a roulette mechanism take place on each link where there's a chance that it'll get stronger. And as it gets stronger, the chances of it triggering are lower and lower. But then eventually, you get to the maximum and then you're done. But the crazy thing is, there's so many variables that factor into this. There was this whole deciphering process of where people thought the best place was to do link level farming, be it the B-Pan event, because higher stamina cost means higher chances of a link leveling up. Whether it was doing 23-8 or any campaign mission for that matter, where there were multiple targets. There were so many factors that were going in initially when people were trying to figure out what the best way to go about this was, that it just added so much uncertainty to the process, and I wasn't up for it. I had no desire to be a part of that, and I don't think they designed it in mind where you would have to painstakingly grind over and over and over deliberately to max their links out. I think they saw this more as an extra bonus that just happens through your adventures as a Dokkan player. Obviously, for the casual player, that still applies, but for some of the content creators, that's not a thing. People like to max out links, do showcases, see the full strength of the unit with rainbow and max links. I tried it, wasn't for me. There was just a lot of stuff that went into it and I wasn't really up for it. But I do remember when I started, all I could think about was maxing out all the LRs, especially all the new shiny LRs that I had picked up along the way, like the 300 million downloads Gohan. I think the very first unit I maxed out, I believe actually was the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, or this Kamehameha Gohan. I think going in, I wasn't considering what the links looked like at maximum. I was thinking about who I was going to be using most. And that still is the sort of idea you should be having when going into link level farming. What team are you going to be using the most? What units are you going to enjoy using the most? But what's funny is, once I maxed out his link levels, I found myself using him less and less. Because I started to think, okay, I got over one hurdle. What's the next one? What's the next one? So after I maxed out Gohan, I definitely not rainbowed, but I maxed out Vegito and Gogeta, two of the fresh, shiny new LRs to hit the scene back during the 5-year, especially this guy, because I had him rainbowed. And I wanted to have him maxed out as quickly as possible. Again, not really factoring in what the links were at the maximum level, just that I wanted them to be as complete and optimized as possible. Before I knew it, I think my first team was something like this. Let me show you what my first team ended up being. If I'm not mistaken, it was a Kamehameha team, because I wanted to have a full... I think I actually did a showcase on my first max link level team. Although, I don't think they were fully maxed out. I think I did one 2 or 3 weeks in, just showing how far my team had come. So there were definitely the 5-year fusions. I know that the Ultra Instinct was in there. And Gobros was there for sure. And I think maybe... Actually, I don't know who the last one was. It might have just been... Oh, you know, it was this guy. Yeah, it was this guy. So this was the team that I had. and I wanted to max them out as quickly as possible. So when I started doing the link level process, I wasn't bringing any area of effect units to take down the enemies faster. In fact, it was much slower because all of these guys are single target attackers. Some of them have the ability to do multiple attacks, like the Gobros, and maybe maximum additionals on the Gogeta and the Vegito led to some of their attacks hitting multiple targets. But for the most part, it was a very tedious and annoying process. But ultimately, this was the first team that I had. This was like my first initiative for the Avengers. It's funny because that's actually how I saw them. And then I started to think, okay, I kind of see what the appeal is. It's fun to have them maxed out. Granted, I don't use them a whole lot, but if I needed to, I now have an even more souped up team. And I remember taking that team into the Legendary Goku event and just slaughtering the event. It was already pretty easy, but having them maxed out made it even more easy. And then I remembered the race with Goresh. So you guys probably remember this too. It's been a meme running around for quite some time. There was a 3-way race between myself, Goresh, and Nolar, where on each of our channels we did 3 races between 3 different categories. So the first one, I don't remember the order exactly, but there was Super Saiyan 1 versus Super Saiyan 2 versus Super Saiyan 3. Universe Survival Saga, Universe 6 versus 7 versus 11. And I think for that one, Nolar had to be 11 because at the time Global didn't have Jiren. And then the last one was Goku's family, Vegeta's family, and Frieza's family. And I will never forget the sheer devastation and disrespect that I endured when going into that race. I got lapped so decisively, I believe twice. So decisively, I was annihilated that it was embarrassing. And because of that, I started to become more aware of what the links look like when they're maxed out. Obviously, I could have taken note of that before, but again, like I said, I didn't care so much about it like these other guys did. But when I started to see what the potential was with units like Cooler and Big Bad Bosses having no health restriction with that attack and defense plus 25%, I started to pay more attention on who I should be starting to work on. And then it also brought in another variable into the equation, which was the AoE thing. When you're doing such a tedious event like the link level farming, you probably want to be bringing a couple AoE units at a time so that you can have the whole thing go faster. So what I started to do was I started to target Goresh's team along with AoE attacking units. I wanted to have units that could attack everybody at once so that I wouldn't have to painstakingly go through and kill each and every stupid Cybermen over and over and over. Where the heck is that? Attack all. Attacks effective against all target super attack. There we go. So then I started to look at these guys. So for my first wave of new recruits, it was the Goresh team, the Wicked Bloodline team, helmed by this guy and this guy, Namek Frieza and Second Form Frieza. The rest of them were all Wicked Bloodlines. I wanted to max out that team as quickly as possible. You guys might recall on 5-9, we had a big collaborative race. It was like it was called the International Tournament of Power. And it was Global Side versus JP. And then at the end, the wild cards were myself and Truth. And I was feeling real good about it. I was feeling really good about that because I had taken a beating, thanks to Goresh, and I had maxed out that category because of Goresh. So I had the perfect team. So I told them, let me take the Extreme Class Super Battle route because I'm going to dominate it. Because I had the exact team that Goresh used to kill me. Little did I know that there were other things that factored into it, like attack animations and other stuff like that. Because again, I'm not nearly as hardcore about this stuff as they are, and I got slaughtered. But in the process of doing that, I became more aware of links. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way because you may not be as hardcore about it. But I just didn't care about links early on when I was playing Dokkan. I just more cared about the characters, the camaraderie, having Cooler and Frieza attacking together, or Goku, Vegeta attacking together in their different forms. That was mainly what drew me into Dokkan. But as link level grinding became a thing, I became more aware of links. I'm still not there yet. I still don't know as much about links, but I'm becoming more aware. So things like Brutal Beatdown, Fear and Faith, Strongest Clan in Space, I'm starting to understand which ones are more important and which ones you should probably prioritize when doing link level farming in order to have more of a substantial boost in your endeavors. Because if you go from level 1 to level 10 links on a unit that really doesn't contribute much, like for example, this guy, you're probably not going to find much use out of him. And I regrettably made this guy one of my initial units, but it was because he was an attack all that I had him do that. I never use him. I've never used him. I think Messenger from the Future. No, it's not Messenger from the Future. Is it Cold Judgment? One of them. Yeah, Cold Judgment. That's like one of his nice links because it gives him plus 25% defense. But I then made it a focus to prioritize all attack or surrounding, what is it? Area of effect targets or units. I'm missing one still, the STR Boo. I believe that's the only one that's left that I don't have max links. So I'm going to be saving that for another run. But these guys became so useful on the World Tournament because with those links, obviously came more advantages, more stats. And now with the Broly being a thing, JP's been having a great time with the World Tournament because running Broly along with some other units that share a couple links, that's all you need. He's going to be taking out the entire competition. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to the World Tournament for like the first 10 minutes. I hate the World Tournament just as much as the rest of you, but I still want to see what it's going to be like with the Broly. And honestly, all of these guys, because I think the last time, actually, I think we've had maybe 2 or 3 World Tournaments since, I don't even know how many we've had on Global since the link level update. I haven't been able to run a fully linked out team yet because these guys were still in the workshop. But now that they're done, I'm looking forward to it. And I've got a couple ideas for teams that I want to run, so look out for that. So after running the attack all units, keeping in mind that I forgot about the Boo, I started to think, what could be the next wave of units that I go after? And I started to think about, okay, so other than the ones that I want to have, like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, UI Goku, all the Universe 7 units. Oh yeah, by the way, Universe 7 is my favorite category, so I had to get those guys in here, which is why most of them are from the Universe Rebel Saga. Like 70% of my units are from Universe Rebel Saga, and I do not regret it. I love those guys. But after I realized that all of the attack all target units are done, I started to think what could be next, and then I realized multiple attack units. Units like Cooler, who has a high chance of launching additional attacks. Kale is a great option. Who are some other ones? Of course, Vegito Blue, and units like that. That became my next priority. And as I started doing this, my strategies going into link level farming became more optimized. Now what I do is I have one unit who is an all-types lead of some kind, which is why some of these units are in here. They will lead the entire team. The friend unit is going to be the Dragon Ball Super Broly unit because he is basically a self-sufficient unit with all the ki in the world. He doesn't need anyone else's help. And Cybermen are so weak anyway, you don't need a leader skill to kill him. So having an extra Broly only makes the process go faster. So what each rotation ended up being was, one rotation featured the friend Broly, and then the other rotation featured either an attack all unit or a multiple attack unit. So Kale, or Vegito Blue, or any of those guys, for example. And then the supporting cast ended up being anybody else who doesn't do any of those things. Support units that enhance ki. Really, really powerful units that I just want to see maxed out with big bad bosses. So actually, let me see how many big bad boss units I have now. If I go down to link skill, select a particular link, big bad bosses. Let's see how many units I have here. So I've got 10 big bad bosses maxed out. And I plan to have more. Why? Because big bad bosses is of course one of the best abilities in the game, fully maxed out, because there's no health restriction at level 10 and you have a crazy buff of attack and defense plus 25%. So I'm starting to understand these things. And the process became more and more enjoyable because I kept thinking about the goal in mind. Once this guy's complete, they will be able to gain an extra 25% attack and defense, virtually like a separate passive, like a brand new passive tagged along to everything else. It became a little bit more fun. And I still remember, I was at 21 or 23 max linked units for the longest time. And then came along the Prime Battle Frieza, because this was when the LR Prime Battles started becoming easy A's. I realized, you know what, let me get ahead of this. And because of those flashbacks from the Goresh race, I thought to myself, okay, let me get the Prime Battle Frieza maxed out so that I can do a max link showcase with a unit on a team with other maxed out units. So I knew that this guy was going to be extremely good, so I spent all of my energy working on this guy. I actually went out of my way to link level up this guy. And I can't tell you how frustrating it was. Because of how random this whole thing is, sometimes you will be stuck with all of your links maxed out except for one, and that one link will not level up. I still remember the horror story that Nolar told me. It took him 30 runs, apparently he counted, 30 runs of leveling up one last link to level 10. And those were the reasons why I said I was not going to do it. But because I wanted to do a max level link showcase for this guy, I put myself through hell. Over a month and a half, this unit would not max out. Finally, he did. And in the process of doing that, I think I had this massive quantum surge in link leveled maxed out units, because I think 3 or 4 of my units were maxed out at least before this guy finished. I know for a fact there were 2 units that started after the Prime Battle Frieza got to maximum, except for that one, and they were able to max out before he did. It was insane. And I think since then I never took my foot off the gas. So now I've got 51. I think I doubled my productivity when it comes to link leveling in the past 3 or 4 months than I did the entire year leading up to it. That should tell you something. Now, I used to always say I'm not going to do that, but I got to be honest, it's kind of changed. Now, I don't do the whole smart links thing that I used to say. What I used to do was if a unit's links would not max out at all, or not max out, would not level up even once throughout a run of a campaign, I would ditch that unit, shelve it, bring out another unit, and start again. Now, I basically just do my link level farming passively every single day. Whatever spare stamina I build up, I use that probably towards the end of the day, and I start maxing out my units. So currently, some of the projects that I have, obviously are these guys. So I have another all types lead, providing key for everybody. Extra, in fact, because he's a support. And then I'm bringing a multi-target attack unit with the Vegito Blue. And then everybody else, actually everybody else is a big bad boss. Is Metacooler a big bad boss? No, he's not. But everybody else is. The Janemba is a big bad boss. Almost maxed out. My Cell, he's almost maxed out. He's just got a couple more to go. Big Bad Bosses is maxed out. And then we've got Bojack. This guy's also looking pretty good. Actually, I think this is the same exact build-up that the Prime Battle Frieza had. Top right was the link that didn't max out. So this is my current team that I work on. Anytime I'm idle, I have nothing else to do, I'll throw on the team into 23-8 and get it done. I'm not going to go out of my way to burn stones to do it, but whenever I can, I do that. But some of the other units that I'm working on, this team I'm working on, I don't know why. I mean, I like free-to-play. I want to get these guys maxed out. Having them at max links would be pretty funny, especially since some of these links are so specific, and they're so specific for a reason. Because they're so specific, they're more powerful. So if they're actually being utilized at their maximum, they can lead to some pretty strong abilities. So I would like to have this free-to-play team be good. I know eventually they'll probably get a TUR, and then I'll have to go through this process again of having to max them out because all of them will be maxed out except for the one. But I want to do it. And then, where were some other ones? Oh yeah, Team Bardock. So Team Bardock is another team that I'm working on, trying to max out the links for. But I'm doing a very interesting experiment with Team Bardock. What I'm trying to do with Team Bardock is I'm trying to max out the links for the unit in a different way, in a very slow and ridiculous way. So here's the team right here. Borgos, Shugesh, and Tora? No, Vasha, sorry. These units, I want to max them out, but I'm doing it in a very odd way. These guys are only leveling up through daily events. I think I've messed up a couple of times and I've accidentally taken them into story events, but I am linking these guys up only through daily activities. So all of these links that you're seeing here are links that have been worked on since literally day 1 of the link level update last year. So probably in a year or so, they'll probably be maxed out or close to it, and then I'll do a showcase for these guys. But that's the experiment that I've got running right now. Oh, I've got 2 level 10s with this LR. Is there any level 10 on the Bardock? Oh, we got 1. Yeah, so that's the other experiment. And then lastly, the Great A Power team. I wasn't able to get it done. I was about to do a race with Gacha Talks, so I had to quickly get some prep time in. So I started working on a Great A Power team with these guys. I think it was the LR Super Saiyan 4s. These guys were done early. But then I got, who else did I have? I think the Gohan, the Vegito. Where's the Vegito? Vegito and Bardock? Either Bardock or Broly. So these were the, oh, actually, since these guys are maxed out, I didn't need them. So I threw in the Bardock. And then I think I threw in probably this guy, Cumber. So these guys are not maxed out, but they're kind of middle of the pack units. I would like to ideally have them done sometime soon, but I've got so many other units that I'm working on that it's just not going to happen. And every single time I think about rotating in one of these guys on that primary team, I just think, why not bring in another big boss? Because that would probably be the most effective use of my time. Because once they are maxed out, the payout is a lot better. But that's pretty much all that's been going on with me when it comes to Dokkan and link leveling. It's might seem pretty boring, and if you're still watching, I appreciate it. But yeah, I've come around on link leveling a little bit. The reward is a nice feeling. It's something that I can do while I'm idle, so I don't really have time to hate it. because I'm not really paying attention to it. Except, of course, sometimes when I stream and I accidentally forget that I've got maximum rank, I've got maximum XP on my rank, and if I complete one quest mode, I lose all that stamina. That's happened a couple of times, which has been devastating to me. But overall, it's I'm actually not too opposed to it nowadays. I will say now what I'm trying to do is keep the distribution a little bit more even. I've noticed I have a lot more physical units, so that's why I've been working on STR a little bit, and int. I think I've got, let's see, we'll do a quick count. So we've got 9 AGLs, we've got 10 greens, a tech, we've got 8 ints, we've got 12 STRs, and then we've got 12 physicals. So trying to get a little bit more int time in here, and probably some more AGL, although I don't think I have any AGLs currently on the team. And I'm also trying to prioritize the Prime Battle units. So we've got Goku and we've got Frieza, Easy Aid, Prime Battles. The next one is probably going to be the Trunks, so that's why I maxed him out. And I'm also working on the Cell. I do have to get the Vegeta in there, so that's kind of where I'm at. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little ramble video. Wow, this rambled off for quite a bit. If you guys are still watching, I really appreciate that. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this different, relaxed, weird video, be sure to leave a like down below. And let me know in the comments some of your thoughts on the link leveling process. Let me know which units you've maxed out. What was your experience like? What was the first unit that you maxed out? Just talk to me about this whole thing. I have definitely become less harsh on it. I still don't think you should do it actively. If you do it more passively, it's pretty fun. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also be sure to subscribe for more dope content in the future. And click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you want to see more of my stuff. Do it! Thanks again. Stay tuned, and always remember to link level responsibly, which means don't burn stones on this. Don't try to anyway. I'm gonna go. Goodbye.